and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Usayome Sally, and today I have the very African Uti Elu.
Hello, hello.
And Messi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
I don't know, the American Messi.
I knew you were going to
But
say
Uti, I
that.
love your hair, like
Yeah,
literally
I
now.
told her that when I saw her.
I was at the
I'm
verge
doing
of
this.
picking a scissors on Sunday, like chop off my hair. Like I was tired because my hair underneath is actually very, there's a lot of undergrowth. So I was just thinking, should I just start all over again?
Don't do it.
But I don't have the energy.
Don't do it.
I think I don't have the energy.
For us, a lot of the time, we always feel like the grass is greener on the other side.
My
Like
dear.
I always tell people that, when you have short hair, you're like, I want to grow my hair, I want to grow my hair, I want to grow my hair. Then as soon as your hair is long enough, it's in a ponytail or you put it under a wig. Then what are you using the length for? So, I went through, I think around the time when you also changed your hair the last time, I was like, I'm going to cut my hair, I'm going to cut my hair. And my salon was like, never. All the money you spent on this hair, never. We're not going to put scissors, we're not going to cut it. So I kind of passed that phase. I think now I'm just like, you know what, I want to do something interesting with my hair. I do the same. People that watch the show know. Once I've twisted my hair, that's it. So you see me.
This is beautiful.
But I'm committing to trying to find more interesting
You
things.
just remember, we'll give you the Shekiri costume. Make you resemble your people
yeah.
Oh my God. Messi, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
How was your day?
Very well. It's just been a rainy day, despite the
I was
fact
going
that
to
it
say
rained.
she's cold because this
Yeah.
is a thick jumper that she's
It
wearing.
is. I got tricked, right? So you know how it is that you step out already because it was raining, and then, whoops, along the line, the weather changes, and then you're like, what's going on? But of course, we're already in the outfit. And we're here.
May the Lord not let you sweat.
Amen.
It is well, oh. So I hear that there's a cholera outbreak. I don't even know what the situation is right now. But what's the quickest way to protect yourself from a cholera if there's an outbreak?
I think cholera is it's the same thing as wash your hands, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So yeah, similar to what we had. For
I was just going to say
COVID.
that avoid anything street food right now. Be intentional about how you wash and prepare your meals, and if it's possible, just avoid buying anything that you did not prepare, so you can control it.
Yeah, actually, that's also valid, but basically, it's just, upgrading the hygiene, personal hygiene across. I remember the period of COVID where we constantly had to wash our hands. I'm not sure if people
don't
still
do that anymore.
washing of hands and what have you,
They'll
wash
ask
your
you,
hands.
where's the water?
I know. It's
So I think we just maintain, the hygiene.
so be careful what you eat, be careful what you drink.
Careful.
Yeah, true.
Keep your hands washed, that kind of thing.
So something interesting happened to me quickly this morning. I shared a voice note as soon as I got to the office. Please, people need to be careful. So I hear that it's actually a trend happening right now that people are being attacked. So you're just driving on the road, especially when you're driving alone. I didn't drive with my driver today. It was just me. And I had a very loud bang. Like it was like my tire had exploded. Only for me, but the training I have is that keep it moving. Even if they bash your car, get to your destination first. Yeah. So I didn't stop. But I hear that people, when they stop, some of them are kidnapped, some of them are robbed, and all of that. But I heard a very loud bang, and I kept on moving. I didn't stop. By the time I got to my office, I saw that it was as if they used a very big stone or something, because I saw the debris of what's it called, rocks or whatever, sand by the side of my car. It was really loud. I was wondering what was happening. But when I looked in my surrounding, I saw like shadows and like people's head in the shadow. Because it was dark. It was like 6 a.m. It was not bright. So I won't hear that it's actually not only early hours of the morning or late night. It's actually even daytime. Yeah. So I'm just saying that people just need to be very careful. Very careful. Because again, with all these hard times that is going on, we don't know how it's going to also impact in the behavior of, people that are desperate.
Yeah.
You just need to be careful. All right, so today we want to discuss labor. Yes. Messi is here. I don't know where Uti stands, but we find out during the show. She will be revealed during the show.
So the thing is, like I told you the other day, I'm not here. I'm not.
Yeah, okay, don't worry. So it's good to be where you are. So we're discussing labor, and we're asking, should the fight be what labor is asking for, which is increment of our minimum wage, or should they actually channel their fights to the National Assembly? based on the things that have been coming out from the National Assembly. And here's what we found as today's quote. It says, "The struggle for justice is not a struggle for the faint of heart." This was from Desmond Tutu. Now, the Nigerian Labour Congress has been at the forefront of the fight for workers' rights and social justice in Nigeria. But with the current political landscape, the question on everyone's mind is, shouldn't Labour shift their fight, to the National Assembly where these things will really matter, and maybe some of those laws, they might not need to fight for it, so we can just have certain things fixed without having to go on strike. All right, so it's our ladies' night out. As you already know, Uti, Messi, and I will discuss this topic. But first, let's quickly run off on the break. When we come back from that break, I want to see what we found in today's news. Thanks for staying with us. Now, National Call Your Doctor Day falls on the second Tuesday in June. As we mark it on June 11th this year, it serves as a reminder for young women to schedule their annual Well Woman exam. It can help establish a baseline for many health concerns later in life and also improve opportunities for identifying risk factors. By making the appointment and keeping it, you place a priority on staying healthy so you can continue to meet those important obligations in the future. It only takes a few minutes to commit to this one annual exam. This is one appointment you will want to keep and mark on your calendar next year. Again, so who called their doctors today? I don't think I've called my doctor in a very long time. God will help me.
No, so I mean, I think...
Uti, I don't know. How well?
So I see my doctor every month. I talked about it when we had the show on hypertension. So yeah, I see my doctor every month, but then I'm due for my annual checkup. So in fact, I've been getting lots of reminders from work to say, your annual checkup is due. The most important thing for me is, everyone needs to be mindful about their health. We just talked about a cholera outbreak. So, I mean, we all need to pay attention, So at this point in time, if you have diarrhea or you're vomiting, you need to make sure that, you see a doctor, because it may not just be what you think, oh, I'm just stooling, as we like to say, or I'm purging, as we like to say. It could be cholera. So the most important thing is, you pay attention to your body, understand the changes, and please, please, please don't self-medicate. Call the doctor.
Absolutely. A nice way to wrap that. All right, so Messi, what did you find for us in today's news?
A very sad incident, but I'm glad that it was actually averted. A suicidal attempt. You want to say a failed suicidal attempt, if that makes sense. So it was a report of, I have to go back to that again. I thought I was already...
Was a foreigner?
Yes, so
I said,
the
why
officer...
did he choose to come and die in our country?
So, officers of the Lagos Police Command rescued an American citizen from attempting suicide on the Third Mainland Bridge in Lagos. And it was made known by a post by the Rapid Response Squad, that's the RRS, that was shared on X on their handle. Now, according to the command, the American's name was actually, withheld for protecting, privacy's sake and what have you. He was driven to the bridge by his baby mama, according to the report, at approximately 1:23 p.m. today. So a passerby who observed his movement quickly, alerted the patrolling the RRS operatives who are usually around that, who persuaded him from not jumping and reunited him with his, wife before taking him to the headquarters in Alausa, right? So. The Command Rapid Response Squad, after advising the man and his family, directed the case to be transferred to Gender Department of the Lagos Police Command for further counseling. That's the case. But just like you said, I looked at the comments, online. I saw the conversation, and I know that everything is always a joke for us in Nigeria, but suicide is not a racial issue. And the act of suicide can affect any individual across,
Well,
any
I wanted
ethnic
to ask,
divide.
that suicide is actually a criminal offense?
Yes, it is.
If you try to commit suicide and it fails, you're supposed to be arrested. So would that also apply to him being a foreigner?
That's exactly, from the tone of that conversation, you could actually, it sounds like that might not be the case. And the issue of criminalizing suicide has always been a major
concern as well.
Yeah, that's a major concern because you're saying, I think that's also
it's like double jeopardy. I'm already trying to, and you're making it worse.
It's also responsible for the fact that, these cases are not, people are under-reporting. The cases are not reported because you're also afraid of the repercussion of, the law, as it were. So I think that it's a very sensitive issue. We need to look for, a better approach towards this at the end of the day, because there are risk factors. There are factors that trigger, all of this mental health issue. It could also be economic factors. It could be anything that would. So criminalizing suicide is also a major issue. I think that we can find a
conversation that we need to probably need to bring maybe people of the authorities to come and ask us. Tell us why, they think it should be criminalized. But let me come to you, Uti.
So when I picked this story today, I actually, that's when you've had a busy day. I hadn't looked at what our topic for the day was. So mine is just an update on the current situation around minimum wage. So it says minimum wage tripartite committee submits reports president to decide. So the Office of the Secretary of the Government of the Federation on Monday said that the tripartite committee, of course, that had been set up, which included the labor unions and the government, has now submitted its recommendation to the president, for which, of course, we've had strike a couple of days. We had a week wherein the committee was supposed to meet every day and come up with its recommendation. Of course, I think the government started at we're at 30,000 at the moment. Government started at 62, or started at 60. Labor started from 494. They've currently come down to 250, and I think the government has gone up to 62,500, I think is what I saw here.
Oh, wow. When no be crayfish.
So, okay, no, 62,000, right? So it's Labour has come down from 494 to 250, and the government has added 2,000 and is now offering workers 62,000. So we wait to see what the outcome is.
Is it for Gary? Or is it for... Is it for beans?
So it's funny, right? This whole conversation around minimum wage, the economy is crazy right now. Everything that is happening is not making sense. It's not adding up, right? And I know that we can juxtapose it against, our leaders and what they're earning and all of that. But the truth is, how many people have increased salaries? Is tight everywhere, right? So if this was the private sector and somebody didn't like their salary, what will you do?
You resign.
You resign. You go and find a new job.
On that
you upskill. You do
let
something
me take my
else.
story. We'll come back to that conversation. All right, so my story is actually another feel-good story that I really thought, because I saw it yesterday. I even commented. This was the first time I was commenting on her post, because I actually just liked the idea. So the daughter of popular billionaire Otedola, DJ Cuppy, I really love the fact that, so she has 3 degrees already, my sister. She's 31. And she says, that she's just looked at herself and she decided that she wanted to go back to school. She's going back for a 4th degree, that, this particular application, because I think maybe she didn't mention the name of the school, but you will know that it's a rigorous, because it's really, really strong in academics and all of that. So she had to go through a lot of essays to rewrite and apply and all of that. So for me, it was just the freedom. Because some of us like this, as we did like this, we did think of our children's school fees. Let me finish. So me, I did think of my children's school fees. I'm supposed to start a course in the fall. I couldn't afford the physical one, so I'm doing the online. But even that online version is the Lord that will help me, because I don't know what I'm about to go into, but I know the Lord will see me through, because I want to get another degree as well. And so I thought, let me just do it on. I said, God, so for me, it was just the fact that it's the freedom, that you have the financial freedom.
You don't have to do
worry about to do a lot of things.
You can do whatever the hell you like, Is it this same small brain that I'm trying to use to figure out my job, my family, my finances,
how to pay your bills,
my security, my career, my faith? There's still space to first of all contemplate, like you said, the cost of You know,
So-
at this
so-
stage,
so
it's
you're-
better education you're going for.
So in your case, it's not even the resources you're talking about now. That means you're not talking about the
Ah,
resources. You're
so
talking
before
about
you
the
get
capacity.
to the resources, eh?
Okay.
The things that
There
will
is
clog
first
your
of all the
mind.
brain to get there.
I-
Then you now shell out the money. Then the time.
For me this year, I've actually, I think I've been trying to defer one admission. That's because, when they say pay
When you-
20,000
No,
Canadian dollars, where you get to see that kind of money?
the math is not mathing.
It's not given. And
So,
this is-
you know, but this is what I was going to say to all those babes that are doing Aristo and they are going to do hookup. You see, this is a billionaire's daughter, right? And see where she's putting her priorities.
No, but it
Like,
just
no,
tells
no,
you.
I'm just saying that I like her, the fact that, she's investing. See, anybody that, I'm a sucker for personal development because I know how far you can go when you upgrade your mind. So anybody that can take out money to say they want to go and pay school fees, they want to go to school, they want to go, it kind of like tells you where their mind is at.
So my point here is, in the hierarchy of need, you would Abraham Maslow theory of need. If you look at that hierarchy, if you look at I'm sure some of us you remember that. If you still remember, you find out that that's hierarchy. If you've not met a certain satisfy a certain need, you can't move on that ladder to another. Say, for instance, some people are still grappling with basic needs.
But I'm trying to explain to you
I
that
understand. I'm just
these
saying
people
that.
I'm referring to, it is business first class ticket that is in their head, Birkin bag that is in their brain. They are not even if
When
they
they have
the
moved,
money.
okay,
Of
so you're
course,
saying that even when they have moved the ladder
not
of
thinking.
I understand
You
what
understand?
you
So I'm just saying that the Lord is, if the Lord is touching you, we too want to go to school. But I really thought to
I
mention
promise
it.
that if the
You're
the
going to
economics
sponsor
and
me.
the finances
It's out
of
of
it are
the-
I
I would
promise
read.
you I will read.
I'll be reading.
I will pass. Just
I thought you were saying I'm going to
Guess
sponsor.
what? With
No,
a
wait.
distinction.
Wait, I thought you were going to say if that happens, I'm going to sponsor you. I'm just going to say
Which show is Mercy on?
I'm on this show.
It cannot be. We need to move. We need to move. We'll see you guys after the break. Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges.
With the growing youth population and very little engagement.
That is a ticking time bomb.
We're blessed people with a diverse culture who have a lot to say.
And yes, we are talking.
It is important we drive conversations that informs, inspires, and influences thoughts and actions.
If we say there is beauty in diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture.
We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation.
As we are the hope for the future.
Yesterday's conversation shaped today.
What are you saying to shape your tomorrow?
We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, the Nigerian Labour Congress has been at the forefront of advocating for workers' rights and social justice in Nigeria. However, of course, as I mentioned earlier, with the current situation of things, there is a growing debate on whether NLC should shift its focus from street protests to engaging with National Assembly. So tonight we want to discuss the pros and the cons of this approach and want to explore the most effective ways for NLC to achieve the goal, which I believe in the end is just to upgrade, the living conditions of its workers. All right, so Uti, you were not here when me and Messi were going basketballs at each other.
Okay.
Right. And my conversation is, or my argument rather, is that Labour has done this for how many years now? I mean, God knows how long we've done these issues around. We say increase salary, you say no, then we then go on strike. For me, I feel like this cassette that is being played is already outdated. Like it should be thrown inside the archive and you find new ways of doing things. Because for me, I believe, as it's been popularly said, that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If we truly want to solve the problem, for me, I feel like productivity is what we should fight for. Why don't we put out means of, what's it called, ensuring or making sure that our leaders are pushed towards, making this country a more productive country, as opposed this fight of money, 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 money. Because if we give value, if we are productive enough, right, we would get, money flows in the direction of value. Yep. We'll get money in return. So that issue about minimum wage will just become a no-brainer because automatically our livelihoods will be increased. But Mercy, on the other hand, what do you believe?
So, like I said the other time, I'm not here, I'm not there.
You have to be somewhere.
You have to be somewhere.
No, I can't be somewhere to the other side. I can't blame Labour, because the conversation came from the part that usually when you have some of these people is, that's a pressure group. Labour is a pressure group. And usually they are in there for their own interests, as when you talk about those who are spearheading, the union itself and all of that. So usually the interest of the people is not being reflected. Of course, we understand the fact that the conversation should move away from, just demanding for increase in salaries and what have you, increasing salaries for workers, but this is, the conversation around salary increase has not just been the only conversation that Labour has had. Labour has also talked about the issue of, corruption, wastage in the public sector. That's in, government coffers, the way public officers. There have been about several issues up until, it gets to this other point where you also have to talk about the salary issue. So yes, we do understand, but we can't also totally allow, Labour alone, all hands must be on deck. I'm sure that we have several civil society organizations in Nigeria. We also have the church. We have individuals. This, fight cannot be the fight that should be left to the hands of Labour. It's okay to say, yes, we should be demanding not just salary increase, but we should be demanding for, better...
Uti, do you believe that this fight with Labour, do you think they are channeling it right?
So, like I was saying before, right? Yeah, you said it. The concept of doing the same thing over and over and over again, you're pushing against a brick wall. And what I find that is happening is that we're using one wrong to defend another not so right or another wrong. That's what it is. Because I use the example of being in the corporate space and not liking your salary. You have a choice. You stick to it, or you find a new job. You upskill, you do whatever you need to do. Now, when we're talking about the government, when we're talking about, we all talk about the bloat. And I know that it's easy to focus on the bloat from the top in terms of the leaders, the politicians, what they're spending and all. But even the workforce in itself is bloated. And it's not bloated. We've all been to government organizations. Majority of the people that you see there, right, you wonder what they're doing. You wonder how, like Uwa said, how are they adding value? But you're collecting a salary, right? If you are worth 250K, nobody's going to pay you 60. Even you won't accept 60, right? And if that person doesn't see your value, you go and find the next person that can see your value, right? So I understand we're all facing it. Even the people in corporate, there's no salary right now, in my opinion.
That is enough. Yes.
So even if we give you 250,000, even if we give you 494,000, there's no salary that is enough. So every person right now is looking at multiple streams of income, ways in which they can increase, give value and earn from it. And that's where the fight is. So yes, Labour is the collective. They have to do this. But they need to re-strategize. They've done this over. And again, this concept of... It's not a Nigerian thing. I said it the last time we were in the UK.
If they increased in France,
everybody went on strike. The teachers went on strike. The bus drivers went on strike. The train drivers went on strike. The doctors went... And it's not a new thing. My son is 8. The day my son was born, I was due to have my scheduled CS the following day on the 11th. And then my water broke on the 9th. And why did they schedule me on the 11th? Because on the 10th, all the doctors were going on strike. So the only doctors that were available were the registrars and the consultants, the very senior doctors. But all the junior doctors were on strike. So that 9th when I went into the hospital and had him on the 10th, it was all senior doctors. They were only doing emergency surgeries. So striking is not new. But when we're talking about getting results, you now ask ourselves, all the strikes we have ever done, who are the strike champions? No. The university lecturers, what's their own?
ASU.
ASU. They have been striking and striking and striking and striking and striking my entire life. Where did it get to? So there is a need to say, you know what? How are we going to win? First and foremost, there needs to be reality, a reality check in what we're asking for. You don't just wave your hand in the air, snatch a number out. Do you know how many people in the corporate world have 2 degrees or are aiming for 4 like copy, and they're not earning 494,000? Do you get what I mean? So on what basis? Now, then, can we afford it? It's one thing to talk about waste, right? Agreed. Those things need to be stopped. And even the point about corruption. Today, our public officers, our government workers, they are not paid enough for corruption not to stop. Because if I am earning 30,000 and I see where I can steal another 30, I will, right? That's just that's not even ethics. That's just reality. Let me not call it common sense, right? So the truth is, and perhaps maybe this is why Mercy is in the middle, but there are changes that need to be made all around. But it's not by striking. We now need to start having real conversations. Are we proposing that certain laws be changed, right? Are we proposing that the conversation takes a different... Is there a roadmap? Even though people will cry and say, well, ASU was promised this, promised that, and nothing ever manifests. But you don't go from zero to hero overnight.
But do you know the reason why, strike is always the resort before... Labour, actually, I'm not a spokesperson of Labour, but I understand, so it doesn't look like, I'm representing Labour here, but I'm just, speaking how these things actually work. So before Labour decides to go on strike, it means that they've been engaging, they have been talking, and government is not responding. Trust me, I have an idea, just a little bit, because in the course of doing this job, sometimes we need to interface with some of these political office holders. I know a couple of times where you have to call, you want to reach a governor's aide, you want to talk to a senator, you reach out to one secretary in the government just to confirm, to get them to talk about some issues or clarification about issues. The bureaucracy, to getting them is also another thing. So usually, I don't think that Labour just wakes up and decide that they want to strike. So they have they get to a point, the process, they start the process, they start negotiating, they're calling for meetings, they are already writing, and the government is not listening. Because strike has always...
Mercy, you can't listen when the demand... So right now, you are saying...
We're not just talking about the current... I'm not speaking to the current demands. I'm just trying to say that, strike has always been the last resort.
Mercy, you're missing the point.
What I'm trying to say now is that if you even tell me that you have been conversing, we converse when the ask is reasonable. In the midst of what we are saying, you are saying, roll back electricity tariff, roll back this, 494,000. I ask again today that 494,000, how many people in corporate Nigeria are earning 494,000 today? And at what level of job?
And people are not earning. So this is where it comes again. We're saying if the government is really honest and saying they cannot pay, are they truly, truly honest that they cannot pay? Because what is really also making Labour to be agitated and, they are not accepting, they're not agreeing with the reality. You can't say you don't have money, and yet you are subsidizing hijab. Is that what they call it? Hajj. You're subsidizing Hajj with 90 billion naira. And an event is a religious event that has no significant. No, I'm just.
So
I'm coming.
now,
So when you see it,
I'm
coming. My point is, you cannot say you don't have money. The Nigerian government cannot constantly say they don't have money, but yet we see how they live a frivolous lifestyle. The way they spend money is wasteful. So recently, yesterday, we were talking about the allocation. You know, how much the governors are they spending to buy exotic cars again?
Yes. 30 billion or so.
We are there subsidizing event that has no significant impact. And Labour is looking at it with the rate of inflation. Inflation might be a global issue.
Don't worry. You are putting yourself inside my trap. Continue going. Keep going.
My point here is...
I'm waiting for you to land.
No, my point here is government cannot constantly say they do not have money, and yet they say they cannot pay the... You know, we are now saying, oh, they don't have. It's not realistic to pay the demand.
That's why I'm saying
So the point is, if you say you don't... How can you say you don't have money yet you're spending? You're living an one-bear lifestyle. In terms of spending,
that's why I said you have carried yourself and put yourself inside the corner that I want
I have not put myself inside the corner.
No, you have. You know why I say that?
Okay,
you have.
Tell me.
Because this is what I'm saying, that you already know. So if I were Labour, I will change my language. I will change my strategy. It's not even an issue of money anymore. What stops Labour from going to the airport to make sure that that flight does not move? What stops Labour from fighting those people? Why would you be subsidizing
surprised
90
that
billion?
By the time you look at that flight,
the number of people that are inside there.
It's not even Labour. It's the people that are earning the minimum wage that will be on the
flight. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. So your fight, right? This is the problem. And you're not going to say you want to be solving a problem. You have a problem with a root. You want to go and cure the leaf. How will that solve the problem? Money, right? Let me tell you something. The productivity that we are seeking for, if we had a healthy economy, I can live on 30,000 naira per month. If everything is working well. Do you understand? If I have good transport system working, if I have a lot of things working well. But these things are not working well. So if I were Labour, why, instead of going to shut down the national grid, I'll go and shut down the airport. That flight cannot leave until they refund that money, that 90 billion that they took. Let them refund it back to the coffers of the government. And other billions. All those cars that they have bought, they will go to the port authority. They will not clear that car. They will return it back to where they shipped it from. I'm saying that you have fought this same thing over and over again. Facing, you know, Labour, they are very good. Nigerian system, they are good. They like to keep us busy. They like us to be talking about... Yes, this is what we are doing now.
Look at how...
Because guess what? We are talking about the things that do not matter. No, where the root cause of this problem.
Are you saying that we're talking this? What we're talking about doesn't matter?
Let me finish. Where the root, I was calm when you were talking. Where the root cause of this thing is, we are not going there to go and solve the problem. We are going to go and be fighting another thing and getting distracted. We have a problem, a fundamental problem in this country.
So you see this problem of revenue that you have talked about. It still brings me back to the fact that Labour has also lend their voice to some of these issues, and it's in wait now.
And I'm saying that those are the issues they should focus on.
They have,
you know,
and there are other bodies as well, and there are other bodies as well. We also talked about if we are here. They say for us to increase our revenue, they brought out a confab. Why haven't we implemented, you know, the report of that confab?
Why is Labour not occupying National Assembly?
Is it only Labour that is in this country?
You are no, you say me this strike. You know what? Let's come back from this break. We are coming. All right, thanks for staying with us. In case you just tuned in, we're discussing the Labour fight, and we're asking, should that fight be shifted towards the National Assembly? Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also tweet at, WhatsApp us on, which one? Call us on 07025007749. That's the number to call. Mercy. I don't know how to stress it. I'm trying to be calm this today.
You should.
But you are not. Again, you see, if the National Assembly could take 2 days to pass what's it called? A national anthem. To say, okay, this was a national anthem that was our problem. We should change our national anthem to an old national anthem in 2 days, right? Does this not give you an idea where the power lies to say, okay, oh, this fight, we should stop facing all these things that we're talking about, what's it called, going on the street, offing the light, and doing all of those things. Why don't we go and sit down? If all these people that are protesting, they go there and they sit down. If they sit in the National Assembly for 1 month, all the things that they are fighting for, they will make sure that those things come to pass.
They may not survive it.
They won't. Who will not survive? Is it the Labour or is the National Assembly?
Protesters may not survive it.
Because they will put them tear gas or what?
Well,
do you understand what I'm saying? Because
so here's the thing, right? I think that it's also important. I know that it can be upsetting, it can be frustrating. Like I said, I agree with the change in strategy. For me, I also feel like if we look at the trajectory of most past Labour leaders, where do they end up?
Governor.
Yeah, they end up in politics.
They will now become senators.
So, sometimes I wonder about the altruism inside this driving strike and being there. It seems like it's just a pipeline to something else.
Uti, hold on. Sorry, let me take John from Ikorodu. Are you there? Hello? Did we lose him? Go ahead, Uti.
So I think that it's important for us to quantify what is possible where. I know that about a week ago when the whole strike thing was happening, I know the National Assembly had tried to broker some sort of conversations around stopping the strike. Of course, they were unsuccessful. Strike still continued and then follow-ons. But for me, I asked myself that, okay, if you say go and block National Assembly, beyond constituting a nuisance, what is the responsibility of the National Assembly inside this conversation? So they are the legislative, right? So it's all about signing laws. It's all about all of that. So today, what can they do?
Okay.
Is he
Let me take John. I think he's back. John, you're live.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You see, actually, my take is this. You are very correct. This analysis of that NLC should take their fight direct to National Assembly. Because this, when we are saying, give us enabling environment, you say no. Your cost of living is very high. Expenses on traveling and everything you are doing very expensive is very high. Now, since you cannot give us enabling environment, what we are now telling you now is that give us this 250, which will be in ratio to what you are also spending. And if you don't want to do that for us, then we need to go ahead. What I will expect Labour and TUC to fight on is to scatter National Assembly by discussing that we want to know how you have to bring your cost of governance down. You have to bring most of the things you are doing irrelevantly by spending much money down. When we discuss that face to face, we shall come down to our level. Since you don't want to understand us, let's talk about them. Let National Assembly discuss the issue and let us take them hands on. For weeks, they will tell us the truth. Good evening.
Thank you. Uti, I want to quickly add 2 things, then I'll let you continue. Now, the call for a new state, right? I think for the Olu state, what's the name of the state that we talked about yesterday?
They want to create states from
that
the
one is coming,
from the south.
There are many states that they are proposing. There are so many things that are being proposed. But you see, when we go on strike, Uti, who dies in the hospital? People that do not even have money, that they've said, you know what, let me plan for the month and let me cook. Do you know how many people said that all their things in the fridges and the freezers went bad? We do not even have the little that we have. We are still suffering. Every time this strike happens, it is not these people that are affected. It is us. So the people you claim that you're fighting for, we're the ones that are being affected. So please go ahead.
So that's why I said I totally agree with you, right? That what is it that the National Assembly is going to do? What applicable laws do we need to amend? What are the things that... Because it's one thing, I like what the caller said. You can't just ask for things that are achievable. You can't just make... if you come to the table and you say you want to have a conversation, you come with reason. The numbers that are being requested, there's no sustainability in it. There's no basis for it because you pay a salary on the basis of value. Am I getting 494,000 naira worth of value out of you? No. Am I getting 250,000 naira worth of value out of you? No. If you think you can get that value, go somewhere else and go and get it, right? So let's be clear. Even when we say let's go to the National Assembly, let's be clear on what we're asking for. Even if you go and, that's why I said I don't know whether the protesters themselves will survive it, because you just can't go and constitute a nuisance somewhere and think that that is why somebody is going to listen to you. If your child does that to you, beat the hell out of the child. So today, what is the clear strategy? If I'm going to the National Assembly now and I say I don't want to do what I've been doing, what am I going to ask for? Are there laws that I want to talk about amendments, right? Are there things I want to say, is minimum wage is on the executive list? Okay, take it off the executive list. Maybe let this become a state issue. Then state houses of assembly. Then we start to move closer. If you say you want to talk about governance and wastage, what do you expect? You see states today, if a governor comes today and says, okay, you have a business, if you wanted to increase salaries or you wanted to promote people, you're going to look at your expenses. You are going to look at your cost of paying that salary. Either you're going to choose to increase your revenue, right, so you can increase your profit and you can pay more, or you're going to downsize your staff so you can pay people more, right? Today, all these workers, if we say everybody now in this conversation, come and justify the salary you are earning, let's do a competency assessment, let's look at your productivity, most of these people, they won't make the cut.
So, as it is right now, we also need to establish the fact that a laborer is worthy of his wages. We also need to understand the fact that
he's
other
worthy
countries,
of his wages in what way?
A laborer is worthy of his wages. When you engage someone, you know, for a service, you pay them.
You agree to collect 30,000.
Just hold on.
Just hold on.
No, just hold on. I'm going somewhere with this conversation. It is fact that when you employ someone, you pay them, right? And other countries, of course, you find out that we see what other countries, developed countries, do. They do have, you know, a periodic a time. They have like a time frame where they get to review, you know, salary and the wages of workers. It wasn't too long that, you know, the Nigerian government had agreed to pay the 18,000 and then they move upward. You also need to understand that these demands are it's just natural when you have the economic situation going the way it is. That's why it is important that we can't take out the fact because you're saying, oh, it's as though labor should abandon the issue of salaries. It is. No, wait, this is what I'm trying to say. This is what I'm trying to say. That it is just within the right of every worker to earn a wage, a living wage. As we go, the dynamics are changing. Economic realities continue to change. It is important that you review the salary. There are no laws that compel the Nigerian government or anybody, you know, to review or increase salaries. I remember sometime in 2017, the House of Reps, you know, engaged in some certain sort of review about, I think it was for the pension earners, but nothing about the salary wage. I understand the point where you're saying, let's shift the fight. But also, when we started this conversation, I mentioned the fact that we have civil society organization, other civil society organization. Labor is there. You also need to understand that every organization, every institution, every organ has a reason, there's a purpose that they start. So for instance now, Parallax, let's say Parallax Media Consulting, you have an objective, you have a mission, and whatever it is that you do in accordance to, you establish, you deliver services, you act in accordance with your purpose. I don't know if you understand. Not to say that it is wrong for them to go back to the drawing board and say, let's have this inclusion. This conversation has been on, you know, the educational, you know, space, you know, academics arguing that and saying, let's have labor include some of this as a discourse. But I'm saying we cannot just leave the fight to labor. You've also raised valid points saying, hey, if you're saying people should go to the National Assembly, what exactly are you going to do there? But like I mentioned earlier on, the conversation has not always been about the increase of salary. It's in public space. You can check that out. Labour has also been demanding for other things. Demanding for other things. That the government, even before the subsidy was removed, Labour constantly said, don't, you know, remove subsidy. Try and, you know, sort out basic issues before you consider removing subsidy.
Mercy.
But, you know,
Mercy.
Yes.
You're not getting the point.
So, no, let me even come from this perspective. Inflation is what today? 30-something%, right? Current minimum wage is 30%. You are offering 60, which is 100%. No, you're offering 60. So that's double. So that's 100%. Right? It's not going to solve the problem. But it is not like a movement has not been proposed. Now, Labour that is asking for 250. What's the premise for the 250?
They mentioned it.
It's not even the premise.
No, I want to know what the...
For me, I don't even want to know what the premise for the 250 is. The point is, today, as at the economy of today, if they gave you 1 million naira monthly salary, and you really want to utilize that money, I don't know about other places, but you are living in Lagos, or maybe probably Abuja, and you want to spend monthly 1 million naira monthly salary, is it going to be enough? Let's say you don't have a car, you are living on rented apartment, and just put in all those factors. You have to pay school fees for your children and all of that. The point I'm trying to make, where the economy is right now, right? I don't think there's... If somebody gave me 20 million naira every month, it still will not be enough. With the kind of expenses that I'm seeing left, right, and center. I'm just being honest with you. That's the point. Right? So, you said something now, and I'm saying to you that this issue of wait, relax, when things go bad, you run on the street and you go on strike. I am tired of it. Can we have a consistent fight towards the National Assembly so that we start to enact kind of the laws she talked about? Let us even see, okay, move this thing away from the federal government. Let us move it to state government so that right now, even in New York, the people, the same job, you earn more in New York than in other states. Why? Because they already know that it's just like, yeah, the cost of living there is high. You cannot expect somebody that is living in Lagos to earn the same amount with somebody that is living in Kaduna State or in Jos or something. Because why? Cost of living. There's a clear difference between the expenses that somebody would face living in those kinds of parts of Nigeria or even Ibadan, right? So move this wage matter. Let it be a conversation that state government would have to do it. Things like monthly rentals that Fashola tried to push for. How would I pay a rent for 1 year? You are talking about labor. It is a worker that is paying that rent. Why would I pay a rent for 1 year that I've not lived 1 year? Change those things. Go and fight it from a point of legislate. You laugh now. Make I finish. Go and change it. Do you understand? Push for mass transit. Let our conversations around functional infrastructure. Let it start to work. Push for mass housing. If we solve all these basic, now you bring Maslow's law. If we solve all those basic problems, that we have a good, what's it called, an affordable transportation, good housing, that we are able to pay maybe on a monthly basis. If we change all those dynamics, will money really be the problem in the end? That's the point I'm trying to make. So where do you make those changes?
And we are saying that this kind of changes, the demand for all of these things have been pushed. These conversations have been had. We have said...
So that's what I'm saying. Why did
long and short of the story.
So, you know what?
Long and short of it is...
The question I'm asking...
You don't like what she's saying now.
The question I'm asking, why did those conversations stop?
The conversation has not stopped. It hasn't stopped. You see, it's not even about it. If you like, let everybody go to this National Assembly. Is it not this Nigeria that you and I are here? This same Nigeria, this Lagos state that you and I are seated right now. If you like, let us all march to the National Assembly and sit down in front of them and cry for body till. In short, let them legislate laws and legislate. Have you not seen beautiful laws in this? Are you not tired of seeing laws and policies? Why are we not implementing them? It is not by hearing the word of God. It's by doing it. Can we start doing things? No, we're saying that, oh, states don't have resources, they cannot afford. Have we not said let's restructure this country? Why have we not implemented the Confab report of 2014? We have not even reviewed. We just come, each government will come and do another thing and move. And we keep going in circles and then we sit down here every other time and then we're literally thinking that, oh, these conversations are not had. We've had this conversation prior to this time. Is it today? We've been having this kind of conversation since labor issues till today. We're still having this conversation. We're saying we don't have money. Labor is still saying, the government is saying they don't have monies to pay salaries. The governor says they cannot pay salaries. But look at the way they are spending money. Look at the budgetary allocation. Look at the expenditure. Look at what we're chunking money, we're sending monies to. Look at what we're doing with money. Why would labor not be demanding for you to pay on unrealistic amount of money to them?
I'm done talking. Uti.
You see the way I'm looking at the both of you? Because,
I'm tired.
I mean, at this point, right, I feel like every time I sit here now, I don't like this
Your
chair.
mental health
When I
is-
sit here, it feels like if I sit on any of those other chairs, it feels better. But when I sit here, it just feels like... So I was listening to her and I'm like, okay, so what? So how do we move forward? Because the reality of it is, are you going to now call to impeach these leaders that are not doing this? We've
Who will
been
impeach them?
We've been talking. No, now, you are looking for a solution because you just said that even if we sit in front of NASS today, nothing ain't going to happen. You say if we block airports, nothing ain't going to happen. Nothing ain't going to happen.
No, but NASS had the power, I say NASS, NLC had the power to shut down airports. No flight moved. So you heard that the government was going to pay 90 billion for a pilgrimage. You understand? It not occur to you, say...
Yeah, but then if you shut down the airport...
No, wait now, Uti.
Look, you see...
No, wait.
The economic cost...
It's like they decide when they want to wake up and when they want to go back to sleep.
The economic cost of... You said this thing about it affecting you and I. The economic cost of shutting down an airport, when it will reverberate and hit you, you will not know. You will pay for it. You that is calling for it, you will pay for it. Because your economy is dependent on that airport. The people going and coming determine whether the deal that you are waiting for will come and meet you. So, again, I mean, the idea that, yes, people take action and collective action is what the strike is, that's one of the ways. But how do we facilitate true change? I've always said it that in Nigeria, I don't believe that our labor leaders, it's not best interest that is motivating them. It's still self-interest.
It's still personal interest.
Right. So, when you start to look at it from that perspective, you ask yourself, I'm still going to be my own government. I'm still going to solve my own problems. And I know that it sounds like, I just want to focus on how we move forward, how we find a solution, right? All of these cries of government after government after government of waste they are spending, it didn't start today now. It did not. The budget, I haven't looked at it and I can't remember whether that 90 billion for Hajj was inside the budget. This same National Assembly that you are going to say they should go and meet now, did they not approve the current budget that had 30,000 naira inside as wage? They did. So it's like you want to go and cry that, Mommy, you set a rule. I don't like it. Oh, yeah, change it. She going to be looking at you that, do you think I was stupid when I said that rule?
Blind when I was setting that rule? So what's the way forward?
So we change the sing-song and we decide on how we're going
I want to ask them, what's the way forward?
Get where we're going.
So, I mean, listening to her point of view, you have said, let's approach this in a different way. My solution to all of this is that all hands must be on deck. Everybody must be involved. We have to start, from different angles. From your village, the chairman, the councillor in your village, to the local government chairman, to the governor, to the House of Rep member in your state, to everybody. That's where we have to start. Because usually we're always very fast, to call on the president, to call the federal government.
You're not going to become a politician.
You understand? We have to start there. Wherever it is your locality, be involved. Let's get involved. Be interested in what's going on. Be interested in the budget. Be interested in the laws and the bills. That's the only way. We have to, constantly, because if you don't know these things, you can't hold the people accountable. You can't speak. We have seen cases where Nigerians have spoke to issues and we've had the government act the result might not be tangible, but all hands must be on deck. So this fight, is not a fight that should be left to a certain body, like, labor that you can't entirely trust. Right? It should not be left. That's why I've said we have civil society organization. The church cannot be left out in all of this conversation. The mosques as well. Traditional rulers. All hands must be on deck. We have to think about Nigeria collectively. For our good is our country. This is the only country that we have. If you like, run away from the country. It is your country. So that's my only solution. That's the only way. We get involved. If everybody gets involved, we all come together as a force.
Continue the strike.
Yes, not the strike. I didn't talk about continuing the strike.
No, but I like what she's saying about getting involved. I mean, it comes down to the fact that, look, the set of people, I mean, during the election, everybody was shouting, get your voter's card, and I always say that by the time you get your voter's card and you're going to use it, the problem is too late. So when you say roll up your sleeves, it's not about even going to meet your councillor. You yourself,
become the councillor yourself.
Become the councillor. Because we all wait for somebody else to come and solve the problem.
I don't tire. Bessie has given me headache tonight.
Okay, so our usual regular fan, Daniel Illo, sends us this message. He says, good evening, my dear beautiful sisters of What Are You Saying? #Ways. Should NLC shift the fight to the National Assembly? I think they should shift it to NASS. But going to the NASS, they need to make it achievable. According to my dear beautiful sister Uti, she said that if it is taken to NASS, it is just like going there to constitute a nuisance. My dear beautiful sister Uwa said something that makes sense. She asked why there should be a power outage when there is a strike. That I support. We need light to monitor the events of the strike. The 62,000 they approved is nothing, and it is on the low side. If those at the National Assembly can go home with millions and billions, then what is 250,000 naira wage that they cannot give? The NLC even tried. They reduced it from 494,000 to 250,000, yet the government is still proving stubborn. For crying out loud, what kind of government is this? This is not fair and highly unacceptable. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel Illo. Where's regular fan?
Yeah.
I don't talk, I don't tire. You see this labor matter, I will leave it. Because since you say all hands to be on deck, now I ask you a question. Make we continue the strike.
No, that was very funny. I didn't say we should continue the strike.
You say all hands should be on deck to do what?
The issues that you actually proposed, what you talked about, you said we should shift the conversation to get into a better economy. Let's have a better economy. Let's have things working. Housing, schemes. You have transportation schemes. You have all the things that will make life comfortable. And I'm saying that let all hands be on deck. It's not a conversation that only NLC alone can have. But the only language you need to understand that the government listens to most times.
It must be down to. No, I like the way they put it. Down to.
Yeah, that's when they listen.
Thank you, Uti. Thank you, Mercy. The Lord be with all of us.
Amen. And grant us journey verses.
Thank you for watching. Please follow us across all our social media handles. Like, share, and invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. This labor matter, they've really given me a headache this night. If you missed our quote for today, here it is again. The struggle for justice is not a struggle for the faint. I tell you, it's not for the faint-hearted. You must be tough. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen.